program is still Good Morning Abuja on the Unity Station NTA Channel 5. First on our conversation is an aviation expert by the name of Godwin Ike. He's going to throw more light into the World International Aviation Day, which is taking place today. Let us meet our guest.
Yes.
Nice having you here.
Thank you very much,
Jacqueline. So now let's talk about the World Aviation Day. What is it all about?
Oh, well, it's a day set aside by United Nations for discussing the chosen theme for each set of 4 years, which is aimed at developing and making aviation safer and better. In aviation, the greatest thing that is taken seriously is safety. Everything about aviation from the beginning to the end is all about safety. And so, the 193 countries that signed up, to be part of ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, get together, mostly in Canada. As a matter of fact, Nigeria had the very rare opportunity of hosting the convention in 2000. I think that was 2018. Yeah.
Okay.
For the first time since 1944 that convention would hold outside Canada. We are lucky. We had it here in Abuja. 2017. That was 2017,
okay.
And I was there. I was live. I was invited and I attended. And so it's the whole idea is for the world to get together, look at the theme chosen by the United Nations, and then raise issues of bordering on safety and share ideas, and of course document all those issues and ideas shared, and then inject them into the operations of aviation. Of course, then now based on that, the commissioners in ICAO will then develop
safety?
Yes, safety rules,
okay,
that they will share with the world. And these rules are not necessarily laws that all countries must obey to the letter. They are recommendations
given to each country.
Yes, given to each country. And so based on your own circumstance within the country, you can vary them and domesticate them to suit your own special circumstance, but generally it's all about safety. Do everything to ensure that planes don't fall off the skies and that people don't get slaughtered. And so that's the whole idea in a nutshell.
Okay, talking about the aviation industry in Nigeria, what do you think our body is doing? Or do you think they're doing a good job?
The French people will say "comme ci, comme ça." Do you speak French?
No. No.
Yeah, when they say to you "comme ci, comme ça," they're simply saying it's like this and like that. Not to the left, not to the right. Somewhere in the middle. In some areas we are doing well.
No, but I'm going to sorry.
Yeah.
I know that in the past we used to have like a lot of planes falling off the skies.
Yes.
And for a very long time we've not had such experience. I think we should say
I will explain it to you. That's why I'm saying that why I call it "comme ci, comme ça." I don't want anybody to be
scared,
bloated out there, big-headed out there, because we still have a lot of job to do in our aviation sector. I am going to tell you why we have the good record you just mentioned. I admit that completely, that planes have not been falling off the skies. And the reason is that the current minister, Hadi Serika, invested a lot in equipping the airports with landing instruments, especially the awesome Category 3 landing instruments. And of course, not just only that, they also managed to cover the entire airspace of Nigeria with radar signals. That means every airplane in the sky will be seen by somebody somewhere.
Yes,
in the past, if you ever understand and know what happened in this country in the past, you wonder why you took the risk of flying at all. In the past, an airplane could take off from Abuja heading to Lagos, and 50% of the distance to Lagos, nobody, not in Abuja, not in Lagos, nobody knew where the plane was.
Wow.
Until it got close enough to the destination to land.
Wow.
That's when somebody was able to connect, and then began to direct the pilots how. So you can imagine if we had crowded airspace. Thank God at the time in question we had few planes.
No, but still, technically, if you're someone that travels a lot, we still don't have a crowded airspace because we don't have like different airlines flying out at almost the same time.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I don't even know where to start from. So what else do you think? That means you're trying to say we still have a lot of work to do.
No, what I'm saying is that I'm first of all reeling out at the moment the achievements of the current administration. Mm-hmm. I've talked about instrument landing system, especially the one that thrills me most is the Category 3 ILS, instrument landing system Category 3. What's awesome about it? Because it's been installed in Abuja.
Okay.
It's been installed in Kano Airport, Lagos.
Sorry, when was this installed? Because I know there was a point in time they said some airlines were diverting to our neighboring.
That time was a temporary thing. It was a technical issue that they had. The landing instrument was there, but it needed some maintenance, and so they had to divert a few international flights. Those international flights, they are so totally spoiled. I mean, I'm talking about the pilots. They are so totally spoiled that they won't take the risks that they will take over here. And of course, most of them do not understand the terrain, and so they must be properly guided. Now, before we had Category 3, we had in place the Category 1 and 2.
Okay.
Now the difference is that when you are approaching and you hook onto the ILS, it got you to close to the threshold of the runway, but kept you at a height of say about 50, some 45 meters above the runway. Okay. At that point, the pilot was on his own, so he needed to use his skill to now get
his judgment.
Skill and judgment to now get the airplane go to the threshold. The threshold of the runway is that place you have those white lines at the two ends of the runway, depending on which one is the incoming and the exit chosen for the particular runway. So those white lines you see at the beginning of the runway, that's what's known as the threshold.
Okay.
That is actually supposed to be the touchdown point for a landing aircraft. So Category 1 had an airplane much higher up there, say about 60 meters above, and after which it terminated, and the pilot who used his judgment and sense to now get down and land smoothly. And so Category 2 reduced the distance a little bit more, but still hung the airplane up there. But Category 3 you need not see anything.
Okay.
In total
So that means you
darkness.
can even land at
You know, you
night.
close your eyes, you don't see anything. You do absolutely nothing. All you need to be looking at is your glide slope on, the panel of the cockpit.
Of the cockpit.
Ensure you're aligned with the center of the runway, and then the glide slope takes you all the way nicely, bam, right on the threshold. So safety is totally, to that extent, guaranteed by category 3. I'm sure the technologists who designed these things must be working on category 4 now. I wonder what else will be added. So that is one good thing that we must thank Honorable Mr. Hadisirika for. He did that for this nation, and so I'm hoping that the other airports that don't have them yet would need to have them, because even with local flights in these ember months, you have problem of harmattan haze that would blind pilots, and visibility will be.
One of them we used to hear about bird entering the is it the engine of
Yes, best strike.
Best strike.
Yes, best strike. Well, they are still there. That is totally a different thing altogether, and it's an area. I started by saying to you, "Come see, come saw." Now, I do not know at the moment whether we have improved on management of wildlife. There's supposed to be a department that should have an office right there at the airport, whose business will be to continue to do everything because those poor animals are just coming around to eat, because of the snacks and all the stuff that people consume that end up in garbage bins, and then of course with the attitude we have in this part of the world, throwing things on the floor and stuff. The birds hover around, sight food on the ground, and their attitude will be to come in to get some food. And so you see a whole lot of them within the vicinity of the airport, sometimes not more than 1 kilometer radius around the airport. And that is extremely dangerous for jet planes. Dangerous in the sense that they come low at an altitude that a taking off or landing airplane would likely run into them. And what's more, if you know the way the jet engine operates, it sucks air from the port in front of the port, and takes them all the way. After some combustion that takes place, you have gaseous air pushing back, and by the principle of action and reaction. I don't know if you did physics in secondary school.
I'm not a science student.
Yeah, by action of action and reaction equal and opposite. Okay, a simple an example I can give to you is the balloon that children play with.
Yes.
When you blow air into the balloon and hold it, it stays in your hand. As soon as you let go, what does it do? It flies away from you.
Yes.
By that air under pressure leaving the balloon, it goes forward. That's what is known as action and reaction, equal and opposite. That is the principle with which those jet engines work. Okay. And so if you have birds flying across, the likelihood is the suction power of the engine sucks in quite a lot of air. It's so powerful that even your size, if you stand in front of that engine, it sucks you in. And of course, it's been tested that at full power, if you put a 30-ton trailer behind those engines at full power, the blast that comes out of those ports will push down the 30-ton trailer.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Imagine the trust that is taking an airplane with over 300 passengers and load and everything, and it hits 950 kilometers an hour.
So all those, what do you call those people that go on the plane and want to fly out through the? How did they survive?
No, it's I mean, do they really survive?
Do they survive?
Do they really survive? I mean, coming to that is it's out of sheer ignorance that you have people attempting stowaway. Yeah, you find people doing such things. First is that if you don't die of what is known as hypothermia, which is excessive cold up there in the skies, as soon as you get to about 20, 25, 30,000 feet above the sea level, it's ice cold.
Of course.
Even when the sun is blasting through it, the rays of the sun will pass through and still leave the place as cold as it is. That is one thing that will kill. Another is the one that is known as hypoxia, which is lack of oxygen. Up there, you have little or no oxygen, and that's why airplanes are pressurized, and of course the pressure also is, the atmospheric pressure also is very low up there at about 30, and so the ability to do what we do here and we take for granted,
you can't. That's true.
You can't do them out there.
True.
So if the cabin of the airplane is not pressurized to give it semblance of the pressure that God
True.
gave us free of charge here on earth, if you don't have that semblance of pressure and you sit in an airplane and you're taken to 30, you pass out.
Sure.
You just pass out because you can't breathe. And so those individuals that stow away enter, number one, a part of the plane that is not pressurized, because it's only the cabin where human beings are sitting.
And obviously they can't go to the baggage unit.
So
meanwhile, sorry.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the aviation industry and COVID.
All right.
How has it been? What do you think Nigeria has done? Because I don't know, we don't really have any airline that flies outside the country, but at least we have local airlines.
Right.
What is the aviation industry? How has it been this COVID period?
I usually, my honorable minister doesn't usually like this, because I taunt them a lot over this issue of the massive development and the equipping of our airports that took place because of COVID. And I always taunt them and say, I taunt them nicely. I love them. I don't hate them. I do it nicely in a way to keep them mindful all the time. The sort of development we have in our airports and the kind of equipment installed, and the fact that you can walk through an automatic door to get into the toilet facilities, and then you use toilet facilities that will automatically flush, with a sensor that notices that a human is around, it gets set, and as soon as you're done and you're leaving, the sensor triggers the flushing, and so you don't touch anything. My dear Jacqueline, this technology has been there all these past years. The technology has been there, and then you would wonder, why did it take COVID to teach us how to live decently? Why did it take COVID to teach us how to equip? Well, would you say there was no money? If there was no money, how come suddenly there was money during COVID to have all this done? So we have a problem. And the problem is that we are not sensitive enough to invest in our own livelihood, in making ourselves as a people, as Nigerians, as comfortable as we need to be with all the oil money that this country has earned since 1960 to date. We haven't done well in that area. So Each time I run into my good friend, the managing director of FAN, I'm not talking about minister right now, the manager of FAN, I said to him, "Oh, you found money to do this beautiful job. I wonder what was going on. So if COVID didn't come, we'll have this in place. For goodness sake, we must continue to invest and develop our country for our own good, and not wait for one ugly virus or the other to teach us how to live." So what I'm saying in effect is that our airports are looking as spick and span as they should be. They are looking so good, equipped to ensure safety. And what's more, talking about COVID and aviation, I've heard people talking about, that there should be social distancing in airplanes and those kind of stuff. It's not necessary. If you understand the awesome design of an average jet plane, the air conditioning system, how they work, you would notice that no one has any reason to be afraid of somebody sneezing or coughing
in the plane,
in the plane and passing on the virus. The reason is that there is something known as suction that takes place within the cabin. And I'm going to explain it to you. Suction is a movement from high pressure zone to low pressure zone. What it means is that as this studio is sealed right now, if we have this studio completely sealed and then you pressurize it by putting in some pressure pump through a very tight sealed hole, and then get this place under pressure. Now open up a hole somewhere from any direction into another zone that is of lower pressure than this place that you have pressurized. You know what happens? Anything that gets into the air right in this studio, be it dust or piece of paper or anything, as you let go, it gets straight to that open hole, looking for a way to get out of this place. That is known as suction. It exists in an airplane. And so the air conditioning system is a circular thing. Number one is that as it supplies you air and it gets all sucked out again into the system, there's a heating system that it passes through, and anything that is known as virus or bacteria or whatever it's called that is a living thing, as soon as it passes through that heating system, dies.
Okay, that's good.
And then clean air and cool air comes back into. So if you're sitting next to an asymptomatic individual who is positive, but you wouldn't know, you wouldn't see because he or she is not ill, and there's a sneeze and the virus gets into the air, under normal circumstances, it should be spreading. Anybody that takes a breath should take it in. But in an airplane, what does it do? It gets sucked away.
That's good.
By means of, because you are under a high pressure zone that is connected to a low pressure outside the cabin. And so suction is constantly taking place in the cabin of the airplane. And so there is no chance.
We've been talking to Godwin Ike, who is an aviation expert and has thrown so much light into the aviation industry. The topic is actually something that we can't use. In fact, if we want to use the whole day today, we would not finish. And it's so nice having you here with us.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
I hope we'll be seeing more of you as usual.
Very soon I'm going to ask you to begin to pair.
And we will be right back after this time out.